Well, joining me now is former Deputy Prime Minister Barnaby Joyce. Barnaby, good to see you. Thanks for your time. I just firstly want to get your response to Jim Chalmers today, saying that the coalition is a risk to the economy and a risk to household budgets. That was in response to the GDP figures. What do you say to that?
Well, let's take Jim for a little lecture in economics. Now, Jim, this is cash. This is cash, right? Merely plastic cash. So let's say instead of being paid in cash, you were paid in gold. Well, what's been happening since you've been there, Jim, is we're getting less and less and less of that. The actual value of this has been going down. So you, who've been getting less, have been getting poorer. See, that's what's been happening to Australians. Since you've been there, Jim, it hasn't got better. It's got decidedly worse. Now, Jim, you might disagree with me and say, let's go for a little trip through the shopping mall. And in the shopping mall, you're going to find people and they can't afford their groceries. They used to be able to afford them, but now they can't. And you'll also find people who used to be able to afford to buy a house, but the price of houses has gone through the roof. And see, Jim, you're bringing all these people into Australia and saying, oh, hooray! They all turn up with a little bit of their own cash in their pocket. So the gross domestic product is going up, but the amount of money per person, especially the people who are already living here, the Australians, is going down. Now, a great test of this is a very essential thing. It's called electricity. See, Jim, the price of electricity has been going through the roof. Unsurprisingly, at the same period as the amount of intermittent power, which you call renewables, but it's not actually renewable, swindle is actually a better word for it, swindle farms, as the amount of intermittent power goes up, the power price has been going up. And you know what you want to do, Jim? You want more of it. You want more intermittent power. Shut down the coal-fired power stations. Don't have nuclear. 82% renewables by 2030. That is insane. So, no, Jim, it hasn't got better. It's got worse.
I've got to say, Barnaby Joyce, that was the clearest explanation of the economy that I've seen for a very long time. Forget the spin that we're hearing from Labor. All we need is your whiteboard and your $20 note, and perfectly summed up, and you're spot on. And I want to ask you just on that point about energy, because there's apparently a new energy crisis upon us, one that we have been warned about. Residential gas customers in Victoria, New South Wales and South Australia are facing annual gas bill increases of up to $295 because of a dire gas supply crisis. Gee, Barnaby, with gas so expensive and as we've been warned there's not enough, we could really do with some more coal, you know, that big bad fuel being driven out of the Australian market before the renewables fantasy. But how did we get to this point?
Well, because we've got into Peter Pan economics, this sort of mythical belief that you can run the nation on intermittent power, because the Teachers' Federation have told the kiddies they're going to instantaneously combust unless we drive our economy into the dirt. We're doing that. See, we think coal's evil. Apparently it's righteous in China and everywhere else that they use it. That's evil if we use it in Australia. And also nuclear is another evil rock. Now, it gains virtue as it crosses fault water and goes to Korea or Japan or somewhere else, but we can't use it here because the kiddies say we can't. And so we're in this wonderland, this mythical wonderland, where us in New Zealand, we're holding out against the rest of the world. We're not going to use nuclear power because if you go down this path, you don't have baseload power, then the poor are the ones you kick in the guts. Because they're the ones you kick to the curb. They have nowhere else to go. So we have to get gas out. You have to get energy. You must have energy. Energy underpins everything in your economy. No energy, no economy. And if you mightn't believe me, you might think I'm a very bad school teacher. How about you believe every other major corporation that doesn't want to move any of their manufacturing to Australia? In fact, the manufacturing we've got is moving overseas. See, they would understand Mr. Bowen better than anybody else, and Mr. Chalmers and Mr. Albanese. And you don't see Crooks or Boeing or Siemens or Airbus or, I don't know, General Electric or Hyundai, Hitachi or Panasonic. None of them are moving their manufacturing to Australia because we are off our heads. We believe that we can create this magical place where it's all run by intermittent power And they're kind of laughing at us. They're saying, this is Australians, it's like they're chilled mania. So gas is one of our big exports. If we don't have gas, then this little baby ain't worth much at all.
No, exactly. And yet here we are standing on so much gas and we're at this point in this country. It's just extraordinary.